Hello there, this is Nick, and let's push on with Game 6 from the South Coast GT. This is probably going to be a very short video, and you'll see why. So, my Game 5, I was playing on table 27, I think, which in a 160 player event, 80 tables, that put me roughly just about out of the top third. And I'd got a 16-4 win, so yippee. I think that's going to put me in good stead. Now, my aim for this tournament was I really wanted to push for top Wood Elf. And the guy who was currently top Wood Elf was, I think, 4 points ahead of me and a few tables up. So if he got a bad matchup and I got a decent one, could push this and maybe clinch it in the dying game. So the draw goes up and I go and have a look, and my heart sinks. I can see I'm on table 13, which is brilliant, but I'm up against Craig Namvar and his vampire counts. Now, it's not so much the fact that it's the vampire counts itself, or even Craig, because I had played against Craig and he thoroughly whooped me at Thorhammer a couple of months ago. But I knew what was in his army, or the style of army he likes to play, because I'd played him before. And lo and behold, when we have a look at the armies, we go through it, his army is essentially a big unit of 8 Crypt Horrors, a huge unit, like as big a unit as you can fit of Black Knights, so 16 I think, with 2 baby vamps in there on death, and a tooled out Vampire Lord, with Quick Blood, which gives him ASF, Red Fury, which means for every unsaved wounds he inflicts, he gets to make another attack, and the +2 strength sword. So an absolute nightmare. So basically I knew that was it. I was going to have to work very hard not to get 20-0'd, and the best I could hope for was an 18-2, so best Wood Elf was gone, and it was probably going to send me rocketing right back down the table, which is fairly annoying, but it's how it goes. I got the bad matchup. That's life, but I'm not going to lie. This is the kind of face I was pulling all the way through. I'm a little bit ashamed of it. I really tried hard not to, so as to not spoil Craig's game as well, but I think I failed pretty badly. I had my sulky face on, I had my this isn't fair attitude going, which was compounded by the fact that when we drew our spells, he got the spells he wanted, and I got neither Dwellers, which I know I don't like to rely on as a crutch, but in order to deal with a big cav bus like that at strength 4, it would have been really useful. Or Flesh to Stone, which would have gone some way towards helping my tree spirits out against his magical attacks in high strength. So we both knew at that point, before we even deployed, that it was screwed. So yeah, I didn't really want to take any pictures for this one, but I thought at some point I picked up the camera and thought I'll start taking some snaps, be complete about this. It's good to learn from your defeats and see how I did. So let's kick on. I think this one is starting from Craig's turn 2. So in his turn 1 he had pushed up with everything. So you can see on that far left is a unit of zombies. Next to that is 8 Crypt Horrors. In the centre of his board, that great big blue monstrosity of a unit is his massive cav bus. Next to that, the 2 greenish blocks are 2 big blocks of zombies. Behind that, some direwolves, and on the far right, some direwolves. The way I deployed was I put some archers in the building, my big archers, my treeman behind to play goalkeeper. I had my 2 units of dryads in the centre, basically to try and feed his cav bus some dryads and keep my other points away, but I don't know, I think I waffled about a bit too much with what to do with my points, my big unit. I should have hid them behind the house straight away, and I didn't. And that was stupid of me. But the thing was that he had so much chaff. He had the obligatory couple of ethereal swarms, bats, all the dogs. There's another unit of dogs in his far left, so I couldn't out-deploy him. He was able to put his cav bus basically where he needed it, which was always going to be down the middle, which is why I had the dryads there. But he could have waited. If I'd put my my unit and my characters at different places, he could have just gone and hunted them down separately. Even his characters by themselves, I couldn't take them down, so there we are. So here his cav bus has just gone into the dryads. He's going to take them off. Magic isn't really much of a factor. He keeps trying to Soul Blight my treeman, and he rolls poorly. Not Soul Blight, Spirit Leech. Sorry, they both have Spirit Leech. Your leadership plus D6. You each do that, and the difference is the number of wounds that the defender takes. I'm sorry. So in he goes. I push up my treekin, which are on the far left, and my treeman. Basically, I just wanted to spread out my points as much as possible so we couldn't get them all. And yeah, so that's that combat. He just kills him to a man. It's not even, I flee. I don't even think he needs anything other than his Vampire Lords. 3's on a reroll 2s, and then 3's on a reroll on 2. The Vampire Lord has 5 attacks. Maybe he might have missed 1, and he required his little vamps to go. Because both of his little vampires have ASF as well, they strike at the same time, so it's not even as if his Vampire Lord will kill enough Dryads that they're out of contact. No, no, no. And I've put my Treeman into his Crypt Horrors, basically thinking he won't beat them. They've got too many wounds, too high toughness, but at least it'll keep them from killing my stuff. And he shouldn't kill me. And yeah, that's the right hand side of the board. That small unit of Glade Guard is actually in that blue building, and what I realise is I should have just taken them out of the building at the start, put my big unit in there. No, that's why I couldn't do it. So under South Coast GT Comp, you couldn't put units of more than 20 models into the building, so I couldn't even save my guys that way. That's right. Anyway, so yeah, my second unit of Dryad is there to block off his cavalry, and he just goes in, mops them up. And as you can see, that Treeman that was fighting the Crypt Horrors took 4 wounds, failed his stubborn test, and ran away. So he's sitting there in the middle, so basically he's going to be a big expensive speed bump, and I'm just running my other units all the way around to the right to try and keep my points. I swift reform my big unit with my characters in and try and get them out the way of that building. So they should be safe from the overrun from the big unit of Cav, but of course what Craig could have done is charge his vampires out, but he didn't want to take the risk of double one-ing it or something, so he just played it safe. He knew he was going to get my points anyway, so he just played it cool. He played really well in this game, I have to say. All credit to him. It's a list that I can't beat, and I had my sulky face on, but he played it really well. He knew that if his vampire died, I could win it, because I could start pushing my Treeman and my Treekin into his Cav block and just grind him out, because the baby vamps aren't that great. You know, there's only so much they can do. So what it meant was he was rolling up some pretty big magic phases and would cast a spell on a 3 or a 4, try and get the resurrect some of his models, the invocation spell off. I would either dispel it or not, thinking he might go for another spell, and then he would just stop his magic phase. Like, he just didn't. He was playing very well, just not risking the miscast, and fair play to him. So here he just, you know, because of the way the turns were laid out, I wasn't able to get my Treeman in the way of his unit of zombies, so that pinned my big block there. And this is the point where I take the unit of archers out the house. Craig called it conga lining. It's just one big rank. They're facing towards the cavalry and towards the upmost block of zombies. That's not conga lining. But anyway, to try and block his unit of cav, but all he does is charges his 2 baby vamps out. Yeah. I moved on the left there, I had put my Treekin into a unit of zombies and killed them in 1 round of combat, gone through, and essentially I then just try and run my Treekin away. So on the right here, he just charged his characters out, because not only were his baby vamps weren't blocked by my unit, but his Vampire Lord was on the flying steed, so he just got round, went in there, and absolutely mullered me. But at least I was able to keep my Treeman safe behind that building, out of their line of sight, so he couldn't charge in and kill me. And on the left, my Treekin, because they don't have a musician, they can't swift reform, they're just not quick enough to try and get away. And there's this amount of staff bearing down on them. He charges them in his last turn and just wipes it out. I basically end the game with a tree man and 2 units of archers left, and that's it. So I go down pretty heavily, 20-0. A very, very sad Nicholas on this one. But anyway, I'll see you in a bit for the summary video.